This video is designed to help bass players develop knowledge in their chosen instrument, more specifically in the area of open string frequencies. So why would you need to know this? First of all, it's a great idea to have a very good general instrumental knowledge about your bass. Secondly, it will help you to understand tone, especially working with amplifiers. It can also be very useful in the recording studio, especially when you get to the mixing stage. During the process of EQ, it can also help you with cutting and boosting frequencies. And finally, it's good to know because you're smarter than a drummer. So let's move on to the complicated bit. On screen is a frequency chart. Now, the average human hearing range of a newborn baby ranges from approximately 20 Hz up to 20,000 Hz or 20 kHz. As you look at the frequency chart, you'll probably notice that each note has a specific frequency depending on the pitch of that particular note. To avoid any further confusion, let's start talking about bass. For the purposes of this demonstration, I have focused on 6 open string frequencies. These being that of the standard 4 strings, E, A, D and G, the low B for a 5 string, and high C for a 6 string bass. Starting with the low B string. Highlighted on the frequency chart in front of you, you should see that the low B string, when tuned correctly and played openly, would resound at 30.87 Hz. Moving on to the first standard string of a 4-string bass, we have the E string. Hopefully on the chart in front of you, you should see that 41.20 Hz is highlighted. This is the frequency of your open E string when tuned correctly. The A string resounds at a nice round 55 Hz. You should see in front of you that this is commonly known as pitch A1. The D string, again highlighted in front of you, is 73.42 Hz. Moving on to the G string, a nice round 98 Hz, an easy one to remember. And for those of you with a 6-string bass, your high C string. This resounds at 130.8 Hz, also commonly known as C3. So let's take this opportunity to talk about what your amplifier actually does in terms of EQ. For example, this is the preamp on my bass amp, an Ampeg SVT Micro. Looking at the dials that I have, they're pretty vague in terms of what they actually do. Marked out as bass, mid-range and treble, this doesn't give me a great indication of what frequencies are being changed or by how much. So it's time to get geeky. You're going to need to open your manual. This image shows the manual for my amplifier. Scrolling through to the relevant preamp section, the description actually tells me exactly what each control does. For example, the bass control allows me to adjust the low frequency up to 14 decibels of boost or 12 decibels of cut at 40 Hz. So it's telling me that 40 Hz is the frequency and how much I can cut or boost it by. The mid-range is set at 500 Hz, providing either a 5 dB boost or 13 decibel cut. And finally, the treble control. This is set at 8000 Hz or 8 kHz, providing up to 19 decibels of boost or 25 decibels of cut. So finally, to recap, on a 5-string bass, the low B string resounds at 30.87 Hz, also known by the pitch name of B0. Your open E string resounds at 41.20 Hz, also known by the pitch name of E1. The A string resounds at a very rounded 55 Hz, also known by the pitch name of A1. The D string, 73.42 Hz, known by the pitch name of D2. The G string, 98 Hz, also known by the pitch name of G2. And finally, a high C string if you should be playing a 6-string bass, 130.8 Hz, also known by the pitch name of C3. I hope that this video has been useful to those of you wanting to swat up on your instrument knowledge. Thank you.